Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whatever time zone you may be in. This is Off the Grid Podcast with Aiden and Jared.
Getting unauthorized access to the truth.
Any more updates on your music, Aiden?
I have a new song out. As I said last podcast, I was uploading a song called Starfield, and now it's out. So that's good. And also, I have a new EP coming. Not a full album, but an EP. It's called so I guess it's actually called Classics. And it's like all the songs that, it's hard to put, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't hate them, but I'm not necessarily proud of them. But I'm still gonna upload them because, I want the audience to decide whether it's good or not, So it's all my songs I originally came up with when I was still in my sophomore year in high school. So
yeah, so there's a lot of things that you grow as a person during that time, so. Yep, so stay tuned for that.
And, yeah, it's gonna be a, really, big deal because I don't know how people are gonna react to it. I just hope that they like it, people seem to like my music so far, so, just keep cranking them out there and just, hope that I can get a wider audience. That'd be really cool. Jared, bro, do you have any, ways that, because I've kind of been thinking about this the past couple of days, how I can get my music out there, because I already know how to upload it to Facebook and Twitter, but, I need a more creative way to get it out there, not just say, hey, here's a new single out and listen to this,
Yeah. Just advertising it, I guess, is the best way to do it. Just keep going through Twitter, find ways to slip in an ad there, whether it be on someone else's Twitter account or something, be like, hey, you think you like his music, check out mine.
Yeah.
Or something, I don't know.
Don't be arrogant, though, yeah.
I know, but
yeah.
I don't know, but anyways.
Yeah.
So that's one way.
Maybe I should take an advertising course, because I know they have online courses, so maybe I should,
Or just, look it up on the internet. I'm sure there's a lot of,
how to advertise.
How to get your music out there. I'm sure that artists have recommendations on how they do it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe...
maybe not as, more on, a level where anyone can do it, sort of thing. Not like where you have to go to a recording studio and, hey, because they do most of the promoting, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I would never, unless it's a big sum of money, like I've said the first couple podcasts we ever made, I don't know if I'm gonna do a record company, because they steal all your stuff when you, sign on. That's why I want to...
They own your content.
Yep,
so.
Yep, I want to become an independent artist. And independent artists can fill out whole stadiums, if their music's good enough, so, yeah. I want to be an independent artist. Alright, so Jared, how's things going with you, bro?
Good. I don't really have anything else to say, but other than you can find our podcast on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to subscribe to either one of those channels to be notified for future content. Yes. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Also, be sure to leave us a comment on our YouTube channel.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Or you can give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. It will be really helpful to grow our channel.
We've actually not been mentioning that, actually, giving a rating on, of a podcast. We need to start mentioning that. Wow.
Yeah, because it really does help, because then people will look at our channel and be like, oh, wow, these people are rated really well. It's just like when you download an app and you want to look to see how it's rated, because if it's 4.5 out of 5 stars, then you'll be like, okay, that's a really good app. But if it's 2.5 or something, you're like, no, maybe not.
Maybe not. Yep.
It's in the iCloud forever.
Oh my gosh. When you post stays forever. And one more thing before we get started. My music is, sorry, I have to go back to this really quick. But my music now has over 100 streams now. Good. So
speaking of which, our YouTube channel,
yes, I was gonna ask that actually, because we've never done this before. Maybe we should start doing this.
Our first YouTube video, or that we had on our
our first podcast.
Yeah. Podcast on our channel is
the Chief Wahoo one.
Yes, and it has 127, I think, 126 views.
Oh wow, I was one off. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's that's the largest one on our channel, probably because of the popularity.
And then what's weird is it the Logan Paul one that's the second?
Yeah, it was 75.
Wow, I was not expecting that. People must love suicide.
And then after that, the Battle of Peleliu.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
another good one. So,
check those out, and I know we don't do this every podcast, but I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening to our podcast. I would never have, Joe, tell me if you agree, I would never have thought that we would get at least 100 views, let alone 126 on one video.
I'm very blessed that people are even listening to our podcast.
I know, that's amazing. And I don't know why, but I had the feeling that we have 7 subscribers now, right? Yeah. Yeah, and wasn't it just last week we only had 3, or have we had 7 for a while?
7 for a while now, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you to the 7 subscribers. We don't know who you are, but thank you.
Anyways, alright, so let's move on to our subject
Yes,
today.
what are we going to talk about tonight, Jared?
The Syrian Civil War.
Alright, now this is going to be a heavy one. People like to, well, not people, but it's not really a thing that's talked about anymore, you know? I mean, don't you agree, Jared? It's not something that's really talked about. It's
not in recent months. The latest time, I think the last time we heard something about the Syrian Civil War was back in April.
Yep, when Trump made the decision to launch over 100 Tomahawk cruise missiles and, hit different targets with Great Britain and France's help, of course. So yeah, it's a mess. The war's a mess. It's been going on for 7 years now, and over 100,000 people have died, dude.
That's a lot.
Did you know that? And most of them weren't soldiers. They were civilians.
And this is in total since 2011?
Yep. It started with, well, we're going to get into it in the notes, though, but first of all, before we get into the notes here, what is your personal perspective on the war? First of all, do you think it's something that we should have gotten involved in? Or should we have stayed out of it?
Well, it seems like the U.S. gets involved with a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
The question is whether getting involved with those certain things are good or not. I don't know if it exactly is a threat to our security.
Yeah.
But it involves ISIS.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good reason why to get involved with it, because you want to blow ISIS up. Yeah. I mean, seriously.
You do know what the S in ISIS stands for. It actually stands for Syria, so yeah. Yeah, ISIS sprang out of Syria, the Syrian Civil War, actually, if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
They were an Al-Qaeda affiliate. Well, they're part of Al-Qaeda and then they split, and freaking now it's like, it's insane, because okay, I'm gonna go back in time here. Jared, you love this topic and you love it to death. 1700s, American Revolution.
Okay.
The revolution that the Syrians are having are a lot different than the revolution we had. A lot different. Because this war right now is Syria, it's completely barbaric, what they're doing to each other. I mean, we weren't that barbaric, were we? What they're doing in Syria right now, the Patriots weren't that barbaric, were they?
No. But here's the thing, I would explain it as more on the lines of Civil War, like in the 1860s.
Oh, duh.
More than the American Revolution.
They all revolted against the government, so I mean, I guess it could be both, Civil War and the Revolution.
True.
But yeah.
It wasn't considered a Civil War, I guess.
Wait a minute. Then does that technically mean the American Revolution was a Civil War? Since it was the Patriots rebelling against another country, could it have been counted as a Civil War, then? Technically speaking?
I guess. Well, the thing is, I thought every single country pretty much goes through a civil war at some point in their history.
Wow.
Pretty much, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how
Except
you can...
Switzerland. Switzerland's perfect.
I don't know how you can think of a country that hasn't had a conflict that involved the people and the government and a dispute over power.
Huh. I don't know if you agree with this here, but we're about to have a second Civil War is what I'm talking about right now. What I'm thinking about. Because of this whole...
I'm more on the lines of...
American Revolution, I mean.
I'm thinking more global. I'm thinking World War III.
Why?
Because it's just like Russia, dealing with Russia right now. Are you freaking kidding
me? Yeah.
Yeah, Russia's going to be the biggest problem here.
And funny thing about we're talking about Syria tonight. Russia supports the government. They're in full support of the government.
Which gives us another reason to hate Russia even more.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that, but, yeah, it's just, this world's a mess. It's an absolute mess. I mean, you got children being kidnapped, you got children joining ISIS. And
blowing up innocent villages, innocent people. I mean, there's innocent kids that are, like, it said that majority was kids that were killed a lot of times.
Yeah, and... Here's something that I absolutely hate. We'll get into this more as we go along, but, there was we've obviously in the US have all heard about the chemical attacks, right?
Yeah.
We've all heard about them. They have been talked about. What I hate, though, is that Syria and Russia denies it ever happened, And it's just... Why do you think they do that, dude? Why do you think they deny it ever happening?
Trying to possibly cover up so then the U.S. doesn't get really mad and, steps in and tries to blow up Russia or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that never happened.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to show you something, okay? This is... I don't know if you know this, but Syria was a beautiful country. It was an absolutely beautiful country, It was, before the war, I think Syria was, almost as, not much as Dubai, but it was a pretty rich country, You could pull out. look at how it looked before the war, and look at how it looks after.
Wow.
Look how beautiful that looks.
Jeez.
Pools and stuff, and now look how it looks. It's a war-torn, it's a wasteland.
Yeah, it's really sad.
And
we'll make sure that this is shown on the podcast and the YouTube and
I'll when the podcast is over, I'll save the photo and I'll share it with you. But it's so sad.
Yeah, because you guys need to see that. That's really sad.
Mm-hmm. The city was so beautiful. Cities were so beautiful. Alright, so, do you think we're good enough to get into the notes now?
Yep.
Alright, so, okay, starting off here. The Syrian Civil War is an ongoing conflict that started on March 15th, 2011, and has lasted for 7 years. It began with a civil uprising against the Syrian Arab Republic, which is the country's government, led by President Bashar al-Assad. The rebels are known as the Free Syrian Army, and have support from the US, obviously, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Qatar, and Turkey. Surprisingly, actually. I thought Turkey would have been on the, government side, but, too weird. The Syrian Arab Republic, which is the government's name, or as some people call it, the SAR. The Syrian Arab Republic, on the other hand, have support from Hezbollah, Iran, Russia, and Iraq. Now, you know what Hezbollah is? Hezbollah's not a country. Hezbollah's a terrorist group.
Oh.
They're out of, country was it? I think they're out of Iran, actually. Hezbollah's an Iran terrorist group.
Wow.
Yeah, and Iran, and now let me, before we go into the history of Syria, that's our next thing, I want to tell you guys, and Joe, in case he doesn't know, in case you guys in the audience don't know, Iran and Saudi Arabia are in the war for one reason. This is because, they're in this war because Iran and Saudi Arabia are always trying to outdo each other. So they're two very rich countries. So Saudi Arabia first goes in first, and they support the rebels. Well, then Iran's like, oh, wait a minute, Saudi Arabia's getting involved, we don't like them, so we have to get involved. So then Iran goes in and supports Bashar al-Assad. So now Saudi Arabia and Iran are starting to go at it. And on the other hand, we got involved, the US got involved because Russia did. Russia, we haven't, before Trump launched those missiles, we, believe it or not, had not launched a single weapon in the war at all.
Wow.
Yeah. It was only when Trump, now that's not to say that Trump is a bad president. We needed to do what we needed to do because the chemical attack was horrible. We needed to stop that, obviously. But, we never fired a single weapon until then, so it was more like, us pleading for Assad to stop, being more, I guess, diplomatic about it.
Well, it seems like President Obama was very hesitant to go about certain things.
Yeah, he talked the talk, but he didn't walk the walk, if you know what I mean.
And Trump, right when he got in office, he started going to town and trying to fix things right off the bat. Now, Obama, he didn't fire any missiles, probably because he was too scared to.
And yet, he authorized the CIA to train the rebels. Which, the rebels are, the still say good guys, but you gotta remember, ISIS supports the rebels. The terrorist groups support the rebels, the jihadists. So, there's no, at least in the American Revolution, there was a good side.
But in this case, we don't.
Why? Because both sides are evil in their own ways.
Because ISIS is supporting the people that are trying to take over the government, right?
Well, they're not taking over, they want to destroy the government. They want to overthrow it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yep, obviously. Yeah.
But, and then you have the government who's on their side.
Supported by freaking Russia, and Putin's a psychopath.
Choose your poison,
Right, exactly. Like lesser two evils. Would you rather have the people that behead Christians? Or would you rather have the president psychotic enough to nuke 25 million people across the planet? It's both bad,
These overseas conflicts are very, very
complicated
touching.
And complex, yeah.
Yeah, because same thing when it was back with, North Korea and South Korea. It's
that is still, that war still officially hasn't ended yet. You know that, right? They never signed a treaty.
Stalemate.
Now. They never had it. That's why the DMZ exists. That's why the demilitarized zone exists between, borders. Because it hasn't ended yet. That was during the Cold War.
Which is kind of weird. This is on the topic of North Korea and South Korea. But
we need to do a podcast on them one day. Wow.
Yeah, we'll have to think about doing that.
That is our tradition.
Maybe we can...
That's our tradition, always.
Yeah, always talk about what we can do next.
Yeah.
But we are innovators.
Yes, we are.
We think ahead.
We are ahead of the times.
So, man. I was thinking that that North Korea and South Korea recently, there was news about how they were wanting to work together in the Olympics, like an upcoming Olympics. Like, it was not until like 2020 something. But they're
23
or something?
Yeah, 2023, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
and they were gonna like be as one or something.
The idea for that really came in
from the last one, right?
This last Olympics, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I still trust North Korea. But that's another podcast. We'll talk about Syria right now, so... I mean, okay, fine, I'll talk about it real quick. Do you trust North Korea?
No.
Me
Especially
neither.
when Trump is like... People were congratulating him on denuclearizing...
Yes.
North Korea, but he's just like, we can't celebrate yet, we gotta wait to see if they actually go through with the plan.
Why?
It's all
he's
talk
smart.
right now.
He's smart. He's smart by saying that.
It's like, don't pop the champagne yet.
Yeah.
We
Same thing with the Iran deal.
Yeah.
Because we found out, we celebrated, and Trump learned from his mistake. We celebrated, and it turned out that... What?
That's like celebrating, like you think you won a game or something.
Right, exactly.
And then it's like...
And the boss responds.
There's a whole, like say it's the Cleveland Browns versus the Steelers. You're down, the Browns are ahead, me and Aiden are at the game.
Oh, God.
And there's
like
there's a minute left on the clock, and we're like celebrating, going nuts. They're like, we just won the game, and then all of a sudden...
They're only 3 points behind. They're only 3 points behind, but then they score a Hail Mary and get a touchdown, yeah.
Yep, win the game,
yep.
And, it's like, that's celebrating a little too early.
That's basically the Iran deal.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you don't know what the Iran deal is. We denuclearized them, well, we've tried to. Turned out that they didn't give a crap about the treaty, and turned out that they were hiding the nuclear weapons program, even after we confiscated it, so... We went and shut that down pretty quickly. That's what we did.
So you think that for our next podcast, we should go over North Korea, like continue on with the overseas topics?
Oh, very touchy. I don't know. Oh yeah.
This will be cool. We should do. We're gonna. I just thought of it now. This is the start of our overseas
series.
Podcast
overseas series.
Yeah. So,
overseas series.
Where we stick with more topics that are involved with overseas conflicts.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might jump around, but that's just an idea. So.
Alright, so, Jared, continuing on with the notes here. You want to go into the history of Syria and why this country is...
You want me to?
Yeah, well,
okay.
First of all, before we go into it, though, Syria has a long history, and believe it or not, we'll talk about this, but this is not the only time this country's been at war, and we're going to explain to you now what we mean. So this is the history of this country, because to know the history of the country means to know the conflict, and why it's so important to them.
Yeah, you have to know the background and what led up to the 2011 start of the official Civil War, right?
Yep. So let's get into this.
Syria became an independent republic in 1946, and that's after being ruled over by the French for years following World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Although democratic rule ended with a coup. Coup?
Yeah, coup.
Yeah, coup. In 1949. That was followed by 2 more coups the same year. An uprising against the military in 1954 led to the Syrian army transferring power to civilians, and from 1958 to 1961, a brief union with Egypt replaced Syria's paramilitary system. This new system had a centralized presidential government in 1963. A successful coup led to the Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party?
Yeah,
is that how you say it?
Huh. That's funny, they're the socialists.
Yeah.
Look at that turn out for them, right? Socialism destroys everything.
So that's exactly like what Bernie...
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah,
no.
that's what our country could end up like.
Oh my gosh.
Scary thought.
Mm-hmm.
So...
My gosh.
Yep.
This is crazy. Yeah, wow. Even in 1954, we were thinking about... I mean, not us. Why us? I mean, Syria was uprising even in 1954. It's crazy. Alright.
So, anyways, coming to power was the
end of that?
The socialists.
Yeah.
And for the next several years, because of multiple coups, Syria went through multiple shifts in leaders in power. Until in March 1971, when someone by the name of Hafez al-Assad declared himself president.
100% accurate. I mean, 100%, Joe. That was awesome the way you spelled that.
I was just,
awesome.
I was trying. He held this position until his death in 2000. And then since 1970, the Syrian regional branch has remained the strongest power in what had been a one-party state. And that is until 2012.
Yeah, what we mean by one-party state is, it didn't have any political parties. It wasn't like Democrat, Republican. It was just like one single party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the first multi-party election was held to the People's Council of Syria, and that was until 2012, on January 31st, 1973, Hafez al-Assad implemented a new constitution, which stated that you do not have to be a Muslim to become president of Syria. Now, how do you think the people would react to that?
Well,
because think of it like, okay, say the president of the United States had to be a Christian, okay?
Yeah.
Just because, like, say that was what the requirements were. And then all of a sudden they just say, yeah, he doesn't have to be a Christian to be president of the United States.
Yeah.
Or no. Better than that. I got a better example. What if they said, our president doesn't have to be born in the U.S.?
Yep.
He can just, this cat, oh my gosh.
Right, like, she's just,
walking around down here.
Oh my gosh.
Leave me alone, I'm trying to record a podcast.
Jeez, cat.
Okay. Yeah, so I can't imagine that going over well. And so what happened is that, this led to fears. What happened was that there was fierce demonstrations in Hama, Homs, I guess is how you say
Hama.
it. Hama
is how you say that, not Hama.
Hama Homs.
Hama, come here, Hama.
Okay, so it's Hama.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds
Hama, Homs,
yep, and
Aleppo.
Yep. Hey, good job.
Organized by the Muslim Brotherhood.
Oh, those guys.
So, what about the Muslim Brotherhood do you know, Aiden?
They are basically a terrorist organization in themselves. Have you ever heard of the UAE, United Arab Emirates, like the government? It's like a country. They say in Saudi Arabia, they say they're not terrorists, but even in a place like Dubai, if you're caught carrying the Bible and you're a Christian, you get imprisoned at least.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, even the government, they can beat you, they can do whatever they want to you, basically. So even the more rich and so-said civilized folk in Dubai can have tremendous hate against Christians. Which I'm just gonna say it, I don't even care. That pisses me off because, there was a thing a couple weeks ago, this is kind of off topic here, but there was a couple of weeks ago about I probably already talked about this, but you heard about this billboard thing, right? About where this Christian billboard was taken down?
No, I didn't.
It was for something called the Harvest Crusades. It's by it's an event run by Pastor Greg Laurie, he's a pastor, and it's basically it's where you get to it's like a concert where like you can praise God together and you can worship and everything.
Yeah.
And they ended up taking that down because it was, I guess, too culturally inappropriate. And yet they wouldn't have a problem with plastering up like a Muslim event, They would have no problem with it, but yet if it was a Christian one, they'd take it out immediately, Well,
that's like taking
that's 100% how it is.
I mean, that's like when they took prayer out of schools. They tried to separate from church and state, and that was a mistake because
the Founding Fathers never said to do that, first of all. That was not in the original Constitution. I don't know where the hell that came from, that idea.
Yeah, they just came up with it on the fly.
Freaking stupid.
Making up new rules, that's like amending the Constitution when they come up with new amendments, it's just...
Which I will admit, that is allowed, so I mean...
Yeah, which is allowed, but separating church and state is kind of... And
this country was founded on Christian morals.
I wanted to mention something. My grandmother, she's 85 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, and
that's old.
She remembers when there was prayer in schools.
Yeah.
And so it was just the normal thing. They didn't think about, oh yeah, that's not right, you shouldn't do it. They just did it, They prayed.
Right.
That was people were more religious when that was around.
Yeah.
And that also, my grandma mentioned, she's like, you never heard of these shootings when there was prayers in school like that.
Nope.
And they claim that, she claims that when they took prayer out of schools, that's when all the shootings started to slowly there started to be more and more, it started to get more violent.
Why do you think? No guidance from God. Remove God from the equation and everything falls apart.
Falls to chaos.
You need, whether you like it or not, guys, we need God. He creates what our morals should be, and without him, morals are non-existent.
So you kind of wonder if, when we were talking about like the Parkland school shooting and the gun control podcast, you kind of wonder if that has correlation with how people act with the guns, I really believe what my grandma says when she said that. Don't you? She
sounds like a very strong, educated Christian person, which is awesome. I love it. I mean, from what you say, it's absolutely true what she said.
Yeah, it's sad.
Less prayer means more school shootings, because think about it, if you're going through something like depression, and school's your only escape, if you can't pray in schools, who else do you have to turn to? I mean, sure, a counselor, but what's a counselor going to do for your soul, you know? Shooters, you know, when you thinking about becoming a shooter, your soul's hurting.
And you can't get saved by a counselor.
Nope.
So.
Mm-mm. Heck
There's
no.
only one person you can get saved by.
That's Jesus Christ, yep.
So, yeah, and there was, after the fierce demonstrations...
They labeled Assad as...
They labeled Assad as an enemy of Allah, which is exactly what...
we were talking about.
What we were talking about. It's just...
you know what Allah means, and...
Yeah, it's just God.
Yep.
They're God, yeah.
Yep, which...
Is it like trying to translate... directly, like they're the same person?
This is a really good debate. This is amazing, because I've had these debates before with your
like family and stuff.
Yeah, not my family, but one of my friends who went to Nathan's church. You know, used to go to church. He was a Muslim, and we were like the best of friends. Well, he says he was a Muslim. I don't know, but you know, he knew a lot about that, I guess. And anyway, we had a cool debate whether it was like whether Allah is the same God as our God. There is a little bit of history to maybe say it is, but no, it's not, because Allah. When you look into the Quran, which is their book, obviously, when you look at the Bible, there are major differences. Like, one of the Quran verses actually states, this is why ISIS does what they do. The Quran specifically states you must kill non-believers.
Yeah.
They call them infidels.
Yeah.
And the Bible says to love people, which, for people that say, oh, you don't follow your own commandment, no, we don't. And we will admit it. We don't love people like we should. Yeah. And that's a problem that us Christians need to work on. But, I mean, no. If you ask me, no. Allah and 100% Allah and our God are not the same God at all. No. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, God would not tell you to go kill people.
No. I mean, and if he kills people, there's a just reason for it. I'm sorry to say it, but there is. Like, all the stories when people say, oh, God has killed whole cities. Yes, he has. They were evil. They were evil cities. I mean, he killed cities like Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, they were full of sin. And, when he destroyed Syria, they were cannibals. They killed people with spears and ripped off their heads and posted them on the street. You know?
Yeah.
So God is a loving God, but he's also a just God, if you know what that means. He serves justice, you know? He's
doing it for a reason, not just to kill.
Right, he's a fair and just God. He needs to serve holy, righteous justice. Mm-hmm. And the same's gonna happen to the U.S. The U.S. is evil too, and there's a lot of sin happening in this place. In this place, I said. But yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, there's, God is a just God, so, I mean, say whatever you want, guys, but our thoughts are not as high as God's thoughts, so we can't say what he'd do because we're not in his position. So, you know, we don't have the authority to judge what he does, so.
You can't predict his moves.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can, but that doesn't mean it's right.
And you don't have the authority to, actually, you don't at all. He created us, so you can't say what he can and can't do. Yep. Oh, are you freaking kidding me? No. That's not how he rules.
So they called him an enemy of Allah, and they called for, jihad?
Yep, jihad, yep.
Against him.
Which jihad means holy war. It means holy war in Arabic, so.
So is this like a thing if somebody does something against their religion, that they're able to, that call the war on it no matter what? Is that how it works?
It's completely religious. Which is what I find interesting, you know, most
religions are peaceful.
That's not what I was going to say. I was actually going to say most wars are political. Like, the most wars you hear about, you know, when we went into Vietnam.
That
was to end communism, that was to, you know. But this is a religious war. This is like the modern day, well, no, it's not. That's a bad example. Yeah, it's a holy war. They actually believe what they're doing is right. So, I mean, props to them for standing up for their religion, but god dang. I mean, seriously. The lengths to which you go, please, no. Don't do that. Don't do what you're doing, ISIS, please. You know? I know you want to spread Allah, but do it like, Muslims here in the U.S. do it, you know? Tell people, build churches. Don't turn on and blow up Christian mosques. I mean, not mosques, Christian churches. Don't blow them up.
Yeah. So the government was able to survive multiple armed revolts from 1976 to 1982. And as we said before, in the year 2000, Hafez al-Assad died and his son, Bashar al-Assad, became president of Syria, where he continues to rule to this day.
Yep. And
eventually that leads to the Civil War.
Because why are they fighting? Well, that's our next section, but before that, I'm kind of stupid because I didn't put, like, the reasons why they were fighting, so let me tell you, Lucas. I did, but I didn't really explain it, so let me tell you, okay?
Okay.
If you don't know already. And tell the audience. Funnily enough, right when he took office, Bashar al-Assad started doing things that were not good. And he started cracking down on what he can do, what he can't do, stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they were voting as normal. But this whole thing started with, they wanted just a democratic reform. They wanted
a democracy.
not a dictatorship, yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Which
said,
is an ideal form of government.
And Bashar al-Assad said no, so they were voted. And it turned into, from just wanting democratic reform to getting him completely out of office. Like he said in that one gun control, was it the gun control podcast that he said, that place in Africa, where they wanted to uproot that leader?
Yeah, probably.
Don't you remember hearing about that?
Yeah,
I remember saying that, yeah. Like that, they wanted to do that, and now it's turned into, like, so extreme that I think it's like they want him either dead, or they want the government completely overthrown. Yeah. Like the buildings burned and everything, so yeah. Alright, so why are they fighting? Now, before I want to start with this, Jared, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they're fighting? Just the government, the protesters, ISIS, like everyone. Why do you think everyone's fighting? Why? Why do you think they're fighting?
Well, they're fighting because they want a new form of government, and they're not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And the people are kind of like how we are in the U.S. We have the thought, and this is like, right, it was written in the Constitution. It's like, if the government that is, supposed to be standing up for us is unjust, then we can fix that by revolting and, trying to get things changed. And we can protest, and we can try to change things.
Yep.
And that's kind of like what I think that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They may, I don't know if they were looking at how the U.S. does it. And they'd be like,
I actually wouldn't doubt it, actually, if they were inspired by watching YouTube videos of us, protesting. They're like, you know what, we should do that, because they know what they're doing.
Because they were able to get things changed.
Yeah.
Same thing with, like, slavery during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Getting things that
they probably watched how we, like, put up, like, picket fences and raised flags and stuff, and they were probably like, you know what, we could probably do that with this government.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very long Civil War. This is
7 years.
7 years.
Almost
so
as
far,
long
right?
as the war that we did on terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, which is 10 years.
Mm.
And, oh shoot, it was on the tip of my tongue. Okay, why will Assad not give in, do you think? Why will he not just say, okay, you know what, I don't want any more of my men to die?
You mean Bashar?
Yeah,
Assad?
yeah.
Well,
why didn't he would just say, you know what, you guys are white. Too many of your men have died. Too many of your families have died. I mean,
because he's living comfortable and where in his position he's at, he probably makes a lot of money since he's the head of the government. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, same thing with Vladimir Putin. I mean, this guy hoards money. I mean, you think that President Trump is rich, okay? But
oh my gosh,
no.
Putin is like, I think he's like,
he has to be like 20 times more rich.
Top 10 list, I think he appeared on one of the richest men in the world. But yeah,
he's like one of the richest.
He's obviously
men in
number
the world.
10, but I mean, but that's still pretty freaking rich to even be on a top 10 list.
Oof.
His vaults are golden. I mean, seriously.
Well, and the thing is, on the lines of what's going on in Russia, he doesn't disperse the money throughout.
Nope.
Throughout the cities.
He's selfish
and
keeps all for himself.
Yep. And he he's
a freaking idiot. I'm sorry, he just is.
And he doesn't want to give up his position, just like
Bashar.
Because I feel like the last voting was like, 83% he won the vote. Like,
that's rigged. It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be rigged. There's nobody that would want him as president
now,
again.
Now, Bashar, this case is different. There are actually people that, I don't understand why, but there are people that wanted to continue being president. Now, I was researching Bashar, obviously, not creepily, mind you, like his, how he rules the country, obviously. And he's very much like Adolf Hitler, in the sense that he's very good at speaking. Remember that interview I sent you?
Yeah.
Did you watch a little bit of it?
Probably. I think so, yeah.
He was talking with NBC News.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very good with words. I will give him that. He's very good with words. But so was Hitler, So was Hitler.
That's how he's able to manipulate the citizens of the country so then they would back him.
He even manipulated the NBC News reporter. I mean, it's talked in a way that, makes you want to be on his side, He's
a charmer is what he is.
He's like the U.S. The U.S. didn't need to get involved. Obama is the worst president, which, that's actually true. He speaks some truth, actually, a little bit.
Wait, you think Obama's the worst president?
No, but, like, he's saying, like, what you did. Like, he's not doing what Trump is doing to where, like, he's a coward. Like, he didn't step up like Trump did. When, he could have struck at us and he didn't, what Trump actually is.
Which we probably should have fired back at him really quickly.
Which is true. that actually did happen. So, I mean,
we should have intervened a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because then it would have saved a lot more lives, possibly. It could have... Because they're getting stronger as time goes on, right? Because they're getting more and more weapons, because they're getting floods of weapons from the people that are backing them, like Russia.
And Iran and Saudi Arabia, which is like the richest country on earth, because they're the ones that have the vast oil fields. So yeah, well, Saudi Arabia is supporting the rebels, not him. So I was mixed up, but I'll talk about Iran. Iran's rich though, so I mean they can support him pretty good.
But if you look at it from take away all of the people that are involved with it, just think about the government and the people that are revolting. Think about that it's a bad government. The people want new...
Well,
what?
I'll go back to World War II again, for just reference. Not all Nazis are bad. They were just following orders. Have you heard of something called the amalgam experiment? Where they supposed to shock people, and they were willing to kill a person just to follow orders because a person in authority was telling them to? Mm-hmm. Same thing with Bashar, I bet, and his government.
Yep.
I bet there are people that are scared for their lives. Heck, the Free Syrian Army was formed by soldiers who actually defected from his government and rebelled, and obviously the FSA got more people that weren't past soldiers as time went on, to join, but yeah. I mean, when there's a person like Bashar in power, or Vladimir Putin for Russia, or back in World War II, Hitler, when people are that scared and think that they're gonna die in a second, they would do anything that that their leaders tell them to, because they don't want to die, you know?
Well, I would say that, what I was going back to is take away all of the people that are involved in the conflict and just concentrate on two things: the government and the people that are revolting.
Yeah.
What side would you pick, Aiden, if you don't consider that Russia is involved with it or any of those other countries?
Obviously the civilian.
You'd be backing them to overthrow the government.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, if ISIS wasn't involved, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
So, that's what we would want to do.
That's what we did in 1770... In the 1770s when we rebelled against Britain, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, it's not as easy as you would like it to be.
No, because they do have ISIS and Jihad that's supporting the rebels, too. So, you gotta,
And you do not want to be backing Russia.
But you don't want to be backing ISIS either, though, the U.S. has now shifted. They said that they've shifted the focus from Assad to ISIS now. Because ISIS has gotten involved, obviously, we want to take them out. So, our purpose in this war is now shifted from the war itself to ISIS, And Russia is getting pissed off because just recently, in 2017, we targeted Assad again, and Russia's getting pissed off because they say if you blow up Assad, we're going to strike back.
Which would then cause a bigger conflict, which then might cause more countries to get involved because, treaties and stuff.
This civil war might cause World War III, dude.
Yeah, exactly, because people that was how it was with World War II, when one country attacked another country.
Yeah, when Germany
it was Poland. Like a domino effect. It affected other countries, and then they are like, okay, well, you're picking on my ally, I'm gonna pick on you, and then, and they start firing at each other, and before you know it, everyone's involved.
God dang. Like when last year when that happened, when Trump fired the missiles, not even a day after there were Russian destroyers coming toward us, ready to fire, and we shot down a couple, Russian fighter jets too, flying over our airspace. It was scary. Russia, people say that the U.S. is powerful enough to blow up the world 7 times over, which I believe. I believe the U.S. is strong enough to take on the whole world if the whole world will return against us, But I don't know if Russia was, all out aggressive. I don't know if we could stand against them. Unless they use all their nukes. If they fight normally, heck no, we would beat them in an instant. But they have more nukes than us, so, if they just use that, I don't know if we stand a chance.
Well, even then, I don't think we'd be alive after the first couple. Because all the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
We'd all be dead.
Syria's gonna cause World War III. Okay, so, alright. Let's move into the notes here. This part of the notes is obviously called Why They're Fighting. So this will give you some background as to why they are fighting, because this is also important to know, like the history of the country itself. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Jared read the last note, and I'm going to read this note. So why are they fighting? Well, the Syrian Civil War, like we said, started out on March 15, 2011, when protesters marched across Damascus, demanding democratic reforms and the release of political prisoners. That's something I forgot to mention, actually. Bashar was actually holding people prisoner.
That were protesting against the government?
Yeah, crackdown, basically, kind of like we do, when people, protest, in the, Ferguson and Baltimore situation. But a lot more brutal, because, they're obviously ruled by a tyrant, so...
Yeah.
demanding democratic reforms of the release of political prisoners. The government was now keep in mind this is a peaceful protest, right?
Yeah.
The government responded by opening fire on the protesters. Not with fake, not with like we do in the US, where riot police, have like rubber bullets. With live ammunition. Just go, and just start shooting everyone. Just because they're protesting. So if you think about it, it was the government that started the war, if you think about it. Because they're the ones that fired first.
They were asking for it.
Yeah.
The people that were protesting were doing it peacefully.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in the US wants to do it peacefully, otherwise you're going to get arrested.
Yeah, you're going to get arrested, not shot, though.
I mean, either way, we're more on that freedom to protest.
Yeah.
And this country obviously doesn't have that.
No.
If they did have that in their constitution or whatever the heck they call it.
I don't even think they have one. Which is why I think people protest in the first place, I think. If they would have had a constitution, I think it would be like the US, where they have these systems in place already, where they can protest.
Well, maybe because it's not in place because they went through so much different powers, like forms of power, different leaders. History, yeah. And they went through they overthrew a lot of their leaders, right?
Yep, and the corruption. Okay. The government responded by opening fire. In response, on March 20th, the protesters burned down a building. Burned down a Baath Party headquarters building, which is big. That was a big thing that happened.
Is that like the biggest party in the country?
That's that Baath Socialist Party I told you about.
Oh yeah.
That's like one of the
Is that like their biggest party? Like
like the biggest.
Like how like the Republicans and Democrats in the US.
The biggest part. It's like 1984, where like the government had that book. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, they had different parties within the government. So that's like what that is. It's a part of their military. It's a part of their, It's kind of like the CIA of them, or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
So yeah. The ensuing clashes resulted in the deaths of 7 police officers and 15 protesters. Not injuries, deaths. That's insane. On April 8th, the protesters shifted their focus from wanting democratic reform to wanting to overthrow the Assad government entirely. Understandably. The government just shot down a bunch of their people, It's understandable. By Friday, on April 22nd, protests occurred in 20 cities around Syria. And by the end of May 2011, around 1,000 civilians and 150 soldiers and policemen were killed.
Wow.
Later in late July, the protesters started to take up arms and fight against the government. The early insurgency lasted from July 2011 to April 2012. On July 29th, 2011, people who defected from Assad's military, as I said this before, formed the Free Syrian Army and began to try to remove Assad from power. Soon after, rebels also joined the FSA, which was obviously civilians, This civil uprising was the start of the war, and it was here that the rebels began to actually fight back by attacking and seizing different strongholds across the country. Just like the Patriots did when we rebelled against Britain, we tried to, the Battle of Valley Forge and stuff,
Yeah.
Tried to take over different areas, but what's different is that they have access to tanks now, so rebels hijacking tanks and blowing up, freaking government buildings and be like, that's insane. Now this is important because this is where it becomes a world problem, right?
Okay.
This is also coincidentally when the Olympics happens.
Wow.
Somewhat not
the
coincidentally enough.
2012 Winter Olympic Games, right? Or Summer Olympics,
summer.
Yeah.
In the summer of 2000, which is always bigger than winter, in my opinion. It's always bigger. In the summer of 2012, Syria becomes what's known as a proxy war. Proxy, you know what that means?
Mm-mm.
Proxy war is like, how do I describe it? Proxy is just like something getting involved that you don't want to get involved, basically, I think.
Okay.
Like, I'll have to look it up, but I think that's basically what that means. Yeah, Syria becomes what's known as a proxy war. Iran begins sending cargo flights to help Assad's forces, while Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states began sending money, weapons, and supplies to the rebels. So like I said, Iran and Saudi Arabia were going at it, And they
start becoming more stronger now. So the war might have ended, the Civil War might have ended sooner if it wasn't for the fact that
these countries didn't open their big mouths.
Supporting, and it's like, you guys, if the U.S. had a say in this and was able to convince other countries to say, hey,
stop it,
you guys need to stop supporting them, just let them duke it out on their own, and they'll burn up their supplies, and before you know it, they'll have to call a peace treaty at some point.
Either they'll have a peace treaty or they'll both end up dead. Which would be sad, but, when no one...
I mean, with the amount of people that are dying, you would think that there wouldn't be a whole lot of people left. There
wouldn't be a winner. I think both sides would die. Like, they would be...
think of it. It's like The Walking Dead, There's it's just, they're going to keep killing themselves until there's nobody left.
With other zombies, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like Terminator, but anyway.
Okay.
Not to make a joke out of this topic. This is a really heavy topic, so... Also, a terrorist group out of Iran, remember this. Remember I told you about this. Also, a terrorist group known as Hezbollah began Syrians becoming involved in the war, and surprise, surprise, they support Assad's regime. Well, actually, that is a surprise, actually. Because terrorists usually support the rebels. Because ISIS was supporting the rebels. So what makes Hezbollah different, you know? Possibly they're from Iran. And Iran supports the Assad regime. So, I mean, that could be a factor. Okay. Also around this time, a group known as the Kurds arise. What?
Like a cheese curd or something, you know?
Yeah. Take up arms and secede from Assad's regime. I'm going to talk about them for a minute.
Okay.
Well, I'll finish this real quick. All they want is autonomy. Now, let's talk about these Kurds for a minute.
Okay.
The Kurdish, they are like, dude,
Sorry.
stop.
Okay, continue.
They are neutral. They're not supporting Assad or the rebels. They look scary. They still have, bandana masks and AKs and stuff, if you look at the pictures. But all they are the people that have the families and babies and they want to, they kill, but they do it to survive and get the heck out of the country, They're the guys that form the groups and they get their AKs and they want to say, you know what? We're scavenging for food, or we are, getting out of here, and we're gonna kill anyone that tries to kill us, no matter what side they're on, They're neutral. So, Jared, say that you are a Syrian.
Okay.
And you're in Raqqa, which is the capital of Syria, that's completely bombed,
Okay.
There are two sides, the rebels and the government. But then the Kurds come in, and, your family's in danger. Rebels say, come to us, we'll supply you with weapons and food. Government says we'll supply you with actual money and food and weapons and probably a place to live because of the government. But then the Kurds come in and say, you know what, we can get you out of the country and you don't have to join either side. You just come with us and you can escape. What side would you join,
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you the same question. I was thinking of that right as you were starting to go into it. And I was thinking that I would probably stick with the neutral side, the Kurds.
Yeah, the Kurdish, yep.
Yep. I would not want to be on the government side because you don't know how long the government's going to last.
Neither.
I mean, because I kind of feel like the government is going to break at some point. I mean, it's got to. One side... Either way, one side's got to break.
Very recently, actually, it's been proven that the government is now starting to take back control and the rebels are almost done for. Which is kind of sad, actually, because they did all this and the war's almost over and they're like...
So does that mean...
the U.S. has to step in and help them. I don't want to start a war again. I know, are you serious?
But then again, if you support the rebels, you're supporting ISIS.
No,
too.
but we can simultaneously bomb ISIS, and we have the power to, dude. If we have the power to fight off the whole world, we have the power to help the rebels and bomb ISIS. I mean, come on now.
I feel like the U.S. is trying to take out ISIS, not only for the fact that they're claiming that they're causing all these problems in the U.S., with like...
Which they are because of domestic terrorism, they are.
Yeah, well, they claim that it's people that are recruited via... online applications pretty much, what I mean?
But that's still recruitment though.
Yeah, still.
I mean, they're still ISIS terrorists, dude, no matter how you slice it. No matter if it's
so the whole point,
ISIS.
The idea I was thinking, take out ISIS,
yes,
and then you take out the government. Help the rebels after you get rid of ISIS.
Or do it simultaneously, like I said, which, I mean,
you could do that.
We can.
Yeah, like split up the group of troops.
The U.S. troops, yeah. But then...
because you want to make
having U.S. troops on the ground, though, risking our soldiers for a war that we aren't really involved in. I don't know how I feel about that,
just like when
though.
you sent me that trailer, actually just this morning, with Iron Man trailer with the army of robots.
Yeah, yep.
From like the
drones,
Iron Man 2?
Yep.
And
the Halo drones, yep.
If we can
those
make
are awesome.
If we can make further advancements in technology,
we could do that.
Then we can send them in and be like, well, we don't feel like we can want to risk our own soldiers' lives. We're going to put them into that.
Let me tell you something about that movie. That was a realistic scene, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I envision robots to be like that when they go to war. I envision that's how they'll look. They'll have their own branch and they'll,
I would say, I mean, I don't think we're quite there yet.
No.
But...
because in the movie, they were autonomous, obviously. They were completely...
Yeah, we do have drones, though. So we could continue sending drones in.
Yeah.
Like those stealth jets, that are really, really quiet, but they're drones. They're, they're controlled via a wireless connection.
You mean a UAV?
Yeah.
That's what they're called, yep. UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle.
Yep, send them in. Start firing at the, so like we said, split up.
Did you know the police are starting to use those? Do you know that?
Huh?
Did you know that some police, like in New York, have started to use UAVs to hunt out criminals? Which I think is kind of cool. They don't use live bullets, they use rubber bullets, but to hunt out criminals, that's pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me with how big New York is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, so like I said, split up the group. One group takes out ISIS. We got to work on taking them out because we got to make a statement.
Yeah.
We got to say we don't support ISIS. I want to make that clear because you don't want to say.
I think Trump has probably made it pretty freaking clear because last year what he did.
I mean, I think pretty much everyone knows that we hate ISIS.
Oh,
I mean, every country.
Passion, yeah.
I mean, most countries do, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. If there's many countries.
There's a single country that
them.
does.
Wait, who?
No, I'm saying I don't know if it's a single country that does support ISIS.
Yeah. So. I mean, but we do want to make that clear that we're not supporting ISIS.
Maybe Iran.
Like, we're not gonna, like, work alongside ISIS. Like, that's not
that's not who we are. Why?
That's not feasible.
No.
So they're
we'd be stupid.
So,
terrorists.
I mean, that's why it's like, okay, so have the drones try to assist in bombing the government, okay?
Yeah.
And then have the troops try to take out ISIS.
Why the hell don't we do what we did with Osama bin Laden?
Where we send in the...
Find Bashar al-Assad's home, send in the SEALs and assassinate him.
That's possible. I don't see how we can't do that. It might be more difficult than trying to find...
Bin Laden, because he's an actual government, person, so
and he probably has a lot of security, so I can't imagine...
Technology, a little bit of technology too, but...
Oh, you don't think that the rebels have tried to get their hands on technology like that to be able to assassinate him?
They have hundreds of tanks now that they've hijacked. And there was a video I saw, I think it was back in the start of the war. They had to rebuild the wall of his of his home, because the rebels had a tank. They blasted a hole in his home, and his fence, and the wall, and it went poof, and there was a big hole in it, and the rebels it was so graphic. The rebels started pouring, and all of a sudden you see gunfire, and a bunch of bodies go poof to the ground.
Oof.
Because the security is so, strong, and then they're all dead, It was so sad, but, they've been trying, Yeah, so anyway, long story long.
Long story long.
I would support the Kurdish. There's no other way to slice it.
I'm with you on that one.
They just want, like we just said, they want autonomy. They don't want
self-government.
They don't want to support the government, and they don't want to support the rebels either, because they know there's people on both sides. I would side with the Kurdish.
This is proof that socialism does not work.
Yep. Also, look at Venezuela.
Get out of here, Bernie. Get out of our country. Go.
And Clinton. And Obama. And every single Democrat.
Well, they're not socialists, are they?
No, are you freaking serious? Obama's about as socialist as it gets.
No, well, Bernie would be. If he was president, do you think that... You don't think that he would be socialist? I mean, dude...
He's a crazy
He was
old
trying...
man.
This is on... Okay, going on right here.
You don't have to tell me, dude. You don't have to tell me. I already know.
I gotta say it. He tried to drag in the young people into voting for him
yep.
by saying, free college for everyone.
Oh my god.
Free college for everyone.
Do you know how much... Do you know how much...
taxes go up?
No, not that.
Oh.
Our student loans, you know how much worse they'd get if that would have happened?
But we wouldn't have to take out a student loan if we had free college.
No, but it would some way bite you in the butt in the long run.
One of the things is that higher taxes.
Yeah.
You would still be paying for it. Like an older person that is not making a lot of money is going to have to end up paying for someone else's college.
And that freaking 1% thing, that doesn't exist. I don't know if you know that. That 1% that they always talk about, the 1% that, is rich. Every single person like you and me and my dad and your dad that has a good business is counted as the 1%. There's no such thing. There was no such thing as 1%. That's so stupid.
Maybe the 1% was the thing back over in the Gilded Age when Carnegie and
Rockefeller, yeah.
But,
but that was unlawful business practices.
Yeah,
so, that
obviously.
But there's no such thing as 1%. No such thing at all. And if there is, it's not as big a deal as we think it is. So, if that even does exist,
Today I don't think that 1% is a
thing. No, there's no way.
It's definitely more equal in pay than it was obviously back, with people's the way they're making money. It's like living has gone up. So.
Oh yeah. Even homeless people now can actually find clothes, and hats and stuff, and even homeless people can find at homes now. Homeless shelters,
Did you hear about that one guy that, remember they donated, like, this couple that were on the side of the road to help the homeless man?
And then he used it to buy drugs and stuff, right?
Well, I don't know exactly what happened, but the money disappeared. Did not use it
he didn't use it for something that was good. Let me just say that, yeah.
Even though
I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Anyway, back to the notes, though. Yeah. All the Kurds wanted autonomy, obviously. By 2013, the war split up by Sunni groups. who support the rebels, and Shia groups, which support Assad's government. Horrified by Assad's atrocities, the Obama administration authorizes the CIA to help train and supply Syrian rebels. In August 2013, Assad begins using chemical weapons against his own people. In 2014, a group known as ISIS, or the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, I didn't put that in there, but that's what that stands for, forms and becomes heavily involved in the war. They fight Assad, rebels, and the Kurds. They want to establish what they call a caliphate, which a caliphate is basically what they say it is. It's basically a whole world ruled by Islam, basically,
So
their religion is dominant, and
they want all countries to be like them?
Basically the Islam Empire. And just imagine that how you will, but, imagine that how you will.
You mean kind of like with, Germany, when they're trying to take over the world in World War
Almost,
II?
It's kind of, that, and also it's kind of weird, analogy, but kind of like Star Wars, when the Emperor rules over the galaxy, and it's like they all bow down to him,
Yeah.
But it's like Islam, like a caliphate. And that's all you need to know as to why the Syrian war is being fought. Now let's talk about why specifically the U.S. is involved.
Yeah, we touched on some of it as we were talking throughout the podcast so far, but...
let me ask you a question before, as we did with each note.
Okay.
Because I want to get our views, first of all. Why do you think the U.S. is involved in this show? Why do you think?
National security. That's probably the biggest problem. We're worried about ISIS. We're worried about Russia. We don't know. And also, you don't know if these people are going to start launching nukes. Like, what if Russia's like, I had enough of this?
That was the most spot-on Russian impression I've ever heard.
Vladimir Putin's there flexing his muscles without a shirt on.
One of my this is way off topic, but one of my family members, now this is okay basically because it's hilarious. They had a dream, and Vladimir Putin was in it. And no, this is like it gets you better. So they were in their house, right? And they wake up, and another day, and they come downstairs, and Vladimir Putin is cooking breakfast for them
without a shirt on, right?
No, it's hilarious though because Vladimir Putin
never wears a shirt.
Vladimir Putin's down there cooking breakfast, and he's like, "Hello, how are you doing?" And it's like they all have a conversation.
Hey Putin, thanks for making breakfast.
Right, that's exactly what happens. And they sit down, and the family member that's involved in this dream and Vladimir Putin are just sitting down at the table in an American home, in a suburban home, just drinking, tea or whatever.
Russians are upon us.
and what's hilarious is that, in the dream, Vladimir Putin was like a friend, like a long-lost friend, and it was just like, hey, how you doing? And they speak complete English, which is hilarious.
And a small loan of $1 million.
It was so hilarious. I mean, I can actually imagine Putin coming in someone's home and just be like, they make friends, And, it's not creepy because they've been friends for a while. So he comes over once and he's like, hey, man, hey, Putin.
Doing some buddy handshakes and stuff.
I can imagine.
I wish I had this dream. That would have been so fun.
Oh, and I guess Putin also made, I think it's what may have been in the dream, but might not have been. I think I remember, though, he's also saying that he made cookies. So,
he probably has them laced with something. I wouldn't want to eat them.
I'll bake some cookies for you. Why did you put in this?
Here, you want some weed brownies? Pop brownies?
You want some weed brownies?
Mom, why is there a leaf in this?
I can actually imagine a child asking their mom that.
Mom,
why did Putin put a leaf in my brownies?
I knew I shouldn't have left Putin in charge of the dessert.
And it's not just ice cream. It's hold on. I gotta think of a good thing. It's
spit it out, man.
Okay, fine, I'll say it. It's weed cream.
Oh my gosh.
Because weed is brown, like cannabis. It's like brown, the chemical is. So you just, oh my god.
Okay, so
I can imagine Putin like, smoke weed every day.
So that was a funny little story about. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was me that had that meme, but no, I don't think it was, but yeah.
I think you would have known.
Putin's does now know flipping pancakes, so it's like, hey.
That is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on...
I think it's my grandma that had that dream. Which is even weirder. No, my grandma had that dream.
Oh, that's definitely weird.
And she absolutely hates Putin, which is hilarious.
Oh, that figures. He's reaching out to her, like, psychologically.
No, using the KGB mind control to affect the mind.
I used to be a member of it, so I can send out my KGB.
Putin, you were freaking in charge of it, so you know. You were cooking my pancakes for me.
You will cook pancakes.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Okay. So anyways,
so
why was the U.S. wanting to get involved in this?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you all may know, on April 13th through the 14th, President Donald Trump ordered the U.S., along with help from the nations of Great Britain and France, great buddies, to launch 100 Tomahawk cruise missiles in a strike against targets in Syria. And these missiles struck bases that belong to Assad's forces. But why is the U.S. involved in the war in the first place? Let us explain. U.S. really involvement in this war began way back on August of 2011 when President Obama called for Assad to resign, quote, for the sake of the Syrian people.
What do you think about that?
That is a bold statement. I mean, coming out of Obama, but
That's bold, wow.
I like that though.
Yeah. He just flat out says stop.
Yeah. I'm on his side with that.
Yeah.
With that statement. Yeah. I think that was the right way to do it. Now,
but don't do crap though. I mean, this is a psychopath.
Yeah, and then in the August of the following year, Obama warned the regime not to use chemical weapons, calling it a red line, which is like crossing the line, right?
Yep.
Is basically what he's saying. And Obama stated, we have been very clear to the Assad regime, but also to the other players on the ground.
Which even back then, Iran and all of them are getting involved, so yeah, I think that's what he means by that.
That a red line for us is that we see a whole bunch of chemical weapons being moved around or being utilized. That would change my calculus, end quote.
Yeah.
So what does Syria do? On August 21st, 2013, Assad launched a brutal, savage chemical weapons attack on rebels in the town of Damascus.
Surprise. Tell someone to do something, they don't do it.
Well, it figures they do the opposite. That's like a psychological thing. You tell someone you can't have that brownie, that pot brownie.
We keep using this analogy.
Please don't eat Putin's pot brownie, but,
Please don't eat... Where were you going with that? Please don't eat Putin's...
I'm tying it back in.
Please don't eat Putin's brownie.
Please don't eat he's laced it with something. And then you're like, well, I want to get high. And he's like, you shouldn't do that.
You will get high, but
you'll get stomach problems and
you will die. You'll just die.
Yeah, with enough of it, it can kill you.
Yeah.
But anyways. Yeah. So, it's a psychological thing. People say when you can't have it, they want to do the opposite.
Because, like you said on the gun control podcast, when they do it, it's like, I feel special. I'm rebelling. This is a special time.
Same thing with alcohol too. You know, with the prohibition.
Yeah.
When they said you can't sell alcohol.
Well, what happens? People freaking making moonshine in their basement.
It's on the black market.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it is. Yep.
And that's with gangs and stuff trying to, hoarding alcohol.
That's
and all
gun control too. Yeah. We're talking about that too. Yeah.
So anyway, this attack on the town of Damascus. This attack kills 1,500 people.
Which is the capital of... Which is like one of the capitals of Syria. So it's a huge city.
And it kills 1,500 people, and most of them were children.
Do you remember seeing the video? Like, on the news when they were patting their backs and they were trying to get them to breathe?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
I do remember seeing
that was sad. That was one of the only times I've ever cried in a news report. I don't cry with news a lot. The only times I've really cried, because none of it I can't remember, but I would have had I seen it. And I, was this age, obviously, I would have cried. I cried during the Paris attacks, learning about that, watching that, and I cried doing this. I don't cry a lot in news reports, but I cried with that. That would just hit me in a way that, not a lot of things
Understandably so.
Yeah.
In response, the Obama administration signals the president is considering a quoted limited military intervention.
That's the problem. Limited. Why limited? Why? This war could have been over a lot sooner. Had it not been limited.
Same thing with, if the other governments that are involved in both sides of the conflict, if they weren't going to get involved with it, it might have ended sooner, because they would run out of supplies, and they wouldn't be able to continue the fight.
Oh, yeah.
You're just fueling
the fire.
So you're feeding, sticks... lumber into the fire, and it's gonna keep on burning.
Yep.
The more wood you throw in there, it's gonna keep on burning.
Well, this is the war. You keep making artillery, you keep making tanks, and
don't put the wood in the fire. It'll go out on its own.
Right.
That's exactly what the Syrian Civil War would have done. It would have eventually went out. It probably wouldn't have lasted 7 years.
Exactly. I mean, heck, when they rebelled in 1954, it only took until 1962, not that long.
Yep, so...
Though
Obama stated that he wanted the attack authorized.
So, was it his administration that decided then not to... I don't know whether to agree with Obama on this then. Because this says that Obama wanted... Like, though Obama stated that he wanted the attack authorized. Maybe I should stand with him on that. If he actually did say that he wanted it authorized, you know?
So he's the original one that wanted to get in...
like, to actually us attack, yeah. I mean, that's just something to think about.
In September of 2013, Russia, who is an ally of Assad, by the way,
yeah,
gets involved as them and the U.S.
Gets involved as them and
the U.S. reach a deal to curtail Syria's chemical weapons. And they set a mid-2014 deadline to remove or destroy Syria's weapons. That's funny.
Nah, I'm just saying because... U.S. and Russia entering deals. How does that always end, you know?
Not good.
Yeah. It's a very slippery slope. We are what we call frenemies. You know, sometimes we're friends, sometimes we're enemies.
In June, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons states that the last of Syria's declared, in quotations, chemical weapons arsenal had been successfully removed from Syria after the UN Security Council called it for a year before.
Yeah, called for it, yep. So,
sorry. Where are you going?
That's funny that it has to take the UN to put this to an end. This chemical weapons thing, you know? The United Nations, you know? Which, I mean, the UN, they were a joke anyway, but I mean, I'm not gonna go into that.
Well, it's because they're not doing anything, right?
Yeah, they're a freaking joke. I'm sorry, the UN, you are a freaking joke.
So they would be good if they were doing stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not.
I mean, don't you agree with me, dude? The UN is like a freaking joke. I mean, they're basically...
Well, that's like, I can think of an example like, where I work, I'm in a union, okay? And unions, you think, okay, they're good, right?
Yeah.
You know, they fight for the worker.
Yeah.
They want to get higher pay and all this.
Yeah.
Well, the union that I'm a part of is not doing enough for the people in Giant Eagle, okay? So what's going on is that they are being very lazy.
Can I ask real quick why this union was formed? Was there an event in Giant Eagle that...
No, it's
just because they want...
They just don't want a business to be like... This. Well, for example, like, you don't get any breaks.
They
might be like...
okay.
Because they can just do whatever they want if there's no one to fight back and say, hey, we need breaks every so often.
Okay, so just normal... everyday things.
Normal rules,
kind of like what all unions do. Okay,
and most places that have unions, they benefit the worker really well.
They get crap done.
Yeah, but this union that I'm a part of
it's pretty lazy.
They don't do. Yeah, they're lazy. They don't do a whole lot. The reason being is that there's another business that is like larger than the one I'm at.
Yeah,
and they get higher pay than what ours does. And
you know what? Look.
And the union, you know what their response was to that? They're saying, well, you are a smaller business, so you don't get
So what?
You're a smaller Giant Eagle, so you don't get the same pay than the bigger Giant Eagle.
So what? That's not the problem. The problem is that, I'm sorry to say this, Jared. You'll probably agree with it, but I'm sorry to say, but your union is lazy.
Yeah,
it just is.
I don't see a whole point of it.
Yeah.
You know, which some people will be like, well, unions are good. Why are you saying something like that?
Because we're lazy and we aren't getting stuff done.
I should be getting...
You guys aren't hitting strikes.
There's no excuse as to why you wouldn't be getting paid as the same as another same business. Say there's, you know, like a McDonald's that is right down the street from the other, and they're getting paid a lot more money than that one.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. They do the same exact thing.
Oh, wow. Just off topic. If I would have worked at McDonald's, I would have been right across the street from you.
Yeah.
I could have just walked over, you know, after work and be like, hey, bud.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool.
So anyways,
in September 2014.
In September of 2014, Congress approves plans to arm Syrian rebels in order to fight the Islamic State.
AKA
ISIS.
Yep, which is good.
Obama also begins ordering airstrikes against ISIS, which is what I was talking about that they should do.
Yeah, which is really good. Which is good.
Against ISIS with help from the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain.
Yep.
I guess how you say it, and Jordan.
Yep, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and Jordan. Thank you guys. Thank you for helping with that.
Fast forward 2 years to August of 2016, and Assad is at it again, back to his old antics.
Right, exactly.
This time, we find out he's been using a toxic chlorine gas to launch attacks across Syria. So that's probably even more lethal than...
This is gonna be sad again, because it's just like, imagine all the people that's suffering.
Well, and it like burns, like if it hits you
like
in the face,
gas.
it like burns.
I mean,
do you ever see like people on the news? There was a couple people that like got acid attack.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it made me sad. Like I said, this is one of the few things I cried about, you know? I mean, obviously in Paris it was because they showed pictures of dead bodies being shot to death, you know?
Well, yeah.
Dead, and that's sad, but also seeing children choking and stuff, that's enough to bring anyone to tears. I don't care if you're the most stone-cold person on Earth, you know?
Yeah. And it's sad because chemical warfare
is banned. It's banned in most countries. World War One is when it was banned, you know that? After World War One was the one that it was most widely used in. They use mustard gas, Mustard gas has effects on your lungs. Really bad effects. Well, we're gonna say this, but...
Isn't it mutations, too? Don't they cause...
No, but they cause nasty blisters, they inflate your lungs, and they just make you die, basically. I'm sorry, that's all I can really process, but yeah, they just make you die, basically. A horrible death.
So,
ISIS
also carries out attacks across Syria using mustard gas, which is like what we just said.
Yeah. So, ISIS is completely barbarians, I'm sorry.
In response, on January of 2017, President Trump orders a ban on Syrian refugees, which I think was think is a smart decision.
That was me writing in notes, so yeah, that's why I said. I mean, let's talk about that real quick. Do you think that was a smart decision?
Yeah.
Because all the left is so, like, don't ban refugees, they're
just trying to seek protection?
Yeah. If they can prove it, then yes, let them in. Now, this is a very slippery slope also.
So...
because what about the Kurdish? I mean, if you're gonna ban all Syrian refugees, how can the Kurdish get in, you know?
So what would be a reason as to why you wouldn't let them in?
Obviously,
like an example.
Obviously ISIS spies.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's one of them.
Shoot.
I don't know, but that's definitely the biggest one.
Obviously security reasons, I think that's all I can say.
I mean, that's just like letting, that's like when Trump is saying build the wall, he's trying to keep these people out from this other country. What?
Maybe the U.S. population would become overcrowded, I don't know. Maybe it would be like a Tailnova situation where like it's overpopulated,
I mean, you just don't know what these people will do when they get into the country. They could they could rob people, they could all sorts of different crimes.
Or on the most positive other side, they could be the most hardworking people you ever meet. I mean, so there's that side of it too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you would hope that they're grateful for you bringing them in to
protect them. You're in the freaking United States. For people that say they don't want to be here, listen, I've said this in previous podcasts and I'll say it again. If you don't want to be here, go to Syria then. Go to Syria. Go to the UK. Go to Iraq. Go to Iran. And see if you last a single day and see if within a day you're not begging to come back, you know?
Yeah, you're not going to have the same comforts that you had in the U.S. and Syria or any other country.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if the leftists got what they wanted and they made on their promise and they went to other countries, they'd be begging within like a couple hours. Like, please let me back in, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously. People just don't see how grateful, like, not how grateful, but how blessed the U.S. is. We're the most blessed country on earth. My dad always says that. No matter what people say, the U.S. is the greatest country on earth. No matter what our political divisions are and everything. It's small stuff. The U.S. is the greatest country on earth because of the ability to have political differences and
not get
leftists
prosecuted for it, you know.
Because of the ability to have leftists and conservatives, to have liberals, and, you know, because of the ability to have that, you know. That's why we're the greatest country on earth, you know.
Because you're able to have your own beliefs.
Yeah.
And you don't get prosecuted for it like you would in other countries.
At least not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
We're hoping that never happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But that also kind of ties in with, when we talked about kneeling during the national anthem and stuff. I'm pretty sure we mentioned that.
Oh,
before.
yeah. Yep.
But, it's just like people don't have respect for your country.
Nope.
And they're like, I want to move out of the country. You go, I don't like President Trump, not my president.
Fine, go to Syria. Let's see how long you last.
Yeah.
You know? Seriously. I'm sorry, that sounds harsh, but go. Just go.
No, but seriously.
Pack up your stuff and get out, you know?
Like, to try to... I really wanted to say something about this, and
yeah, please do. I'm sorry if I'm
we may just go ahead and make a whole nother podcast out of this.
Again, tradition.
Yep, which actually this is a record. We've said it a lot this podcast. But
wow, no, only 2 times.
3?
No.
I think so, 3.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
not.
3 times.
I don't know.
Okay.
But...
Anyways,
the football players that kneel during the national anthem, they're making millions upon millions of dollars, and yet they're saying they're protesting different things, whatever it might be. It could be police brutality.
Yeah.
Is what the most popular one is. And they make all this money, yet they protest. It's like...
Play freaking football. You're not
like
$1 million to protest.
You're paid to go out there and play.
You're paid to hold balls. and run with them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, that was meant to be a joke, but yeah, you're paid to hold a ball and, run with it.
You're paid to go. You're paid for our entertainment.
Yeah, basically.
So,
I'm sorry. That sounds like those slaves, but I mean,
I know, but
that's true. It paid for our entertainment. We football entertained. So, and it's kind of funny since they've done the kneeling, the NFL's ratings have dropped and the viewage.
Yeah,
do you know that?
That's why networks are rejecting to even air the national anthem, because they know that if they air that, it's going to show people kneeling possibly. And that's the reason why they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, don't give them the public, that pedestal where they can stand up and show that on the TV, because if you show it on the TV, it's going to make it more popular.
Well, that's why... I think that's why they started kneeling on TV, because the players know. That was their goal, to get noticed,
Yeah, because they're like, well, we can use this public... like celebrities like to say
there's two
their
sides
political side,
There's two sides to it. I'm with the side that say you shouldn't do that because it's disrespectful to our soldiers. But there's also the side that say, okay, they're doing that, but they're not burning the flag, They're not like the crazy Antifa guys that are burning the flag and, you know what I mean?
I mean, it is peaceful protesting, but we all have a right to get angry about it and be like, don't do that. Like, we all have our own, we're allowed to have our own.
Some people lash out at people saying, don't do that, don't.
Yeah, just don't go violent about it. And, I mean, the one thing...
There are some veterans that support this, the kneeling, which, I'm going to have to look into why, but, yeah. I actually thought I'd point that out.
I'm sorry, but to those people that are supporting the people that are kneeling during the national anthem, and you are a veteran, I don't understand why you do that. I honestly don't, but, I mean...
Your fellow brethren is who they're against. Maybe not against them personally, but they're...
See, I don't
think... They are against your brethren's symbol.
Yeah.
Which is the flag,
And the flag is a symbol for our country. And whether you are... I wouldn't have a problem if they were kneeling for something else, but they're kneeling during the national anthem, and you are...
Think about the words that are being said. Think about the words. Think about them.
Let me continue, Aiden.
Sorry.
No matter if you are... kneeling about something completely different, and you're not trying to degrade the flag, you're just trying to protest something different.
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever, you're kneeling during the national anthem and the flag is there, you're degrading the flag no matter what.
Yeah.
Because there's people that are... The flag embodies all the people that fought for our freedom.
And
all the people that are currently fighting for our freedom. So either you're disrespecting them. And that's why I don't understand why the veterans support it, because that's 100%. Disrespecting themselves.
100%. I mean, you're basically saying the Battle of Iwo Jima was useless. The statue where they're holding up the flag on that little island, and have you seen that picture?
Yeah.
Of all the soldiers who run the circle, they're basically saying that doesn't matter,
Yeah, well, you know what? I'd like to see what this country would be like if they did not do anything to try to get us where we're at today.
Right, and, that song by Johnny Cash on When Good Old Flag?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good song, first of all, but yeah, it has a verse at the end where it's like, she's been abused, denied, refused, and the government for which she stands is, scandalized throughout the land. That's true, There are people that are abusing her and denying her and refusing her, you know?
So,
we'll talk about
the moral of the story is that you shouldn't
respect
be violent. Flag. Well, no, it's not. That's not what it is. You shouldn't be... Well, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But tying it back into the Syrian Civil War, you shouldn't be violent about your protest, and yet the government is, shooting at the innocent people.
Oh, that's where you're going with that. Okay, yeah.
So that was just a big old story to wrap it up there. But anyways, they launched that chemical attack in the rebel-held city of Duma, east of Damascus, killing 40-plus people, including children.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump then stated that he saw the images of the attack, and it startled and saddened him. He said this attack goes, and I quote, beyond a red line. He also stated it breaches the treaty made in 2013.
Which is getting the weapons out.
And Russia and Syria deny the attack, calling it a, quote, a fabrication.
That was Vladimir Putin's exact words, actually.
Well, yeah, in Russian, but yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, on April 13th, Trump orders strikes on Syria in response to the chemical attack. Now, apparently, in the last few days...
We're talking about, actually, within the last few days of us recording this podcast.
Yeah, September 2018. U.S. officials are saying there's mounting evidence that Assad has greenlit the use of chlorine gas by his military in the province of Idlib? Idlib, is how you say it?
I think it's actually Idlib. It's a weird way to do that, but it's an Arabic, so
yeah. So that's all you need to know as to why the U.S. is involved in the war.
Yeah, we're basically trying to. So yeah, that's it for Syria. But I mean, I don't think we've talked enough about it yet. So I mean, you want to just add a couple, just talk about it for a little bit, and just get our thoughts out a little bit more.
Yeah, if you want to. Do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going over this, and it's just like, first of all, it scares me that what U.S. officials are saying about that he's preparing to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And. How does someone like Assad even, I know it's like Hitler did, but still, someone that psycho to get in power like that.
He just has that way to convince people to get him there, in that position. Wait, did they vote him in? Is that what happened?
No, it's like,
do they just, like, select him, or...
It's like in Britain when the person dies,
it's like family. A family, like a royal family.
It's a dynasty thing. Yeah. So, okay. We did on the notes about the U.S. getting involved, but I want to ask you a question. What does the U.S. need to do? What I mean is getting boots on the ground. Do you think we need to get boots on the ground? Because Russia, the reason why we got involved is because Russia actually has boots on the ground. What I mean by that is they have soldiers, actual real-life human soldiers on the ground in Syria.
That are trying to help in...
That are defending Assad's bases and stuff like that. Do you think we need to get boots on the ground? And we need to help the rebels?
I mean, if we want to get it over with quicker, I mean, that would be the way to do it. Try to, take it in our own hands and try to get it done.
But then that would risk another Afghanistan or another Iraq, where it's 10 years of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we cannot afford another 10 years of fighting in a conflict that doesn't even really involve us.
Now, it was an excuse for Iraq and Afghanistan because we got attacked first.
Yeah, terrorism.
That was 9/11, yeah.
That was, at the time, when we went into that war, we were all gung-ho and be like, let's go into this because we got attacked, we got to fight back.
Yeah.
And then, it kind of eventually wears out, and we're like, okay, well, we've been here enough, and we showed them what's for. Can we get out of here now?
Yeah.
And, that's what I'm afraid. I feel like if we put boots on the ground, we're going to get dragged into it, just like we did with the September 11th attacks. And it's, in our response to the attacks, that is what I was trying to say. We don't want to get dragged into it.
Yeah.
Because it could be, if we get dragged in, it could make things more complicated. Or, and then it might be dragging on for another 7 years. And then before you know, it's like 14 years and...
Yeah. Civil War. And also, you gotta think about Russia's response. They would get pissed if we actually got boots on the ground. Can you imagine? It would be like,
another World War? I'm telling you.
What I mean, very specifically in World War II, when the Japanese soldiers and the American soldiers would literally be feet across from each other, guns aimed at each other. I can imagine a scenario like that, where we get in Syria, and it's like Russian soldiers having the guns pointed at us, and we have the guns pointed at them, we're ready to shoot. And then we kill one of Russia's, men, and they get pissed. And Putin's like, screw you guys, pushes the button. What I mean is the big red button, and you don't know what I mean by that.
Yep, time for the nukes.
Yeah, and it's just, oh my god. What do you think Trump needs to do as not ruler, he's not a dictator, but as the president of this whole country? What is he doing right, Joe, and what is he not doing right?
As commander-in-chief, he should definitely be careful with his next moves when it involves the Syrian Civil War. Because if he gets, and he's like what we said, if he's like, all right, let's get boots on the ground, we gotta end it now.
Yeah.
If he does that, he might be remembered as a president that started another 7 years of war. And that is not...
a president that started another Afghanistan. And it was a Republican that started it last time with Operation Desert Storm. But that's neither here nor there.
So, I feel like he's got to be careful because this could change how people look at Donald Trump for the rest of his presidency. And
he's already looked at by a lot of people as, as not a good president, which I don't understand why. They're just finding reasons to hate him.
Dude, that's the Democrats, okay?
Yeah,
when Donald Trump comes out and says, relating it back to with the Kavanaugh hearings, right now they're with the
enough
Supreme
about
Court.
This, my God. I sorry to take a little thing of it seriously.
I mean,
goodness,
because Donald Trump, what he said about it, he's like, it's the Democrats that are, that he's blaming it on them, that Kavanaugh's, it was fabricated.
And I freaking hate all this, stuff about, it's died down, I think, a little bit, but when all the women were coming out and saying he was sexually harassing them and stuff, I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. You can tell from the smart people like us can tell from a mile away that that's fake, Yeah. We can smell it like sharks smell blood.
Well, there was one guy that I saw a video on Twitter about it, and if you look at my Twitter account, you can see it there. and it says that there was a video about it was with the Supreme Court hearing with Kavanaugh, and I forget who the guy was, but
yeah,
he was definitely against the Democrats. He's like, this was fabricated.
Mm.
You deserve to be on the Supreme. You deserve to be.
Can you kind of remind me about what this whole stuff is? This hearing, because I've heard of it, but I don't know what it really is.
So I listened to part of it. They had about that lady that was supposedly sexually assaulted by Kavanaugh.
Okay.
And this was during the party.
In, like, the government.
Huh?
Someone that's in the government, right?
Well, Kavanaugh was picked by Donald Trump, and that would definitely fuel the Democrats to do something if it was picked by handpicked by Trump.
This is what this was. Okay, yep.
So they had to vote him in the next day. So they had the hearings before.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to sway which way what's gonna happen to Kavanaugh.
So basically they don't want him voted in. Is that basically what this whole thing is?
It was to see if there was actually evidence that he did do something.
Oh, okay.
And so this lady, had a whole entire speech. This was the lady that was supposedly accusing him.
Yeah, which is supposedly ho-ass.
Yeah, and so she was, went through the whole thing. I mean, it sounded pretty sincere.
Yeah.
But you think about it, it was probably fabricated. With the Democrats, they wrote this out for her to say. She was set up to go do this.
I can imagine the Democrats just with a little notepad. Yo, this is what you'll say. Memorize it like a script.
I mean, Aiden, they do this all the time for presidents. They have, a whole speech written out. They got speech writers.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump writes out his own speech? I mean, he might say, okay, I want to say this, this, and this, and this.
I mean,
but usually...
obviously, when a president wants to get elected, they have to. Because they want to, have an idea of what they want to say. They have to have a speech written out.
Well, I know, but they have a speech writer that they ask Trump or whoever's president at the time, they're like, what do you want to say in this? And he's like, okay, I want to say that this is what I want on my policies and all this, and then they write it out.
They're basically like a scribe saying what they want. Yeah. Yep.
So that's what I'm thinking the Democrats did, or I feel like it's fabricated.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we'll see. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the Syrian Civil War. Do you think, or do you got any last minute comments on it?
Wow, it was just wow. I thought we would have to do a part 2, but wow.
Just depends how fast we go through it.
That was awesome.
Instead of splitting it up.
One more closing remark though. How do you think? I'm sorry. One more thing about Russia. What is going to be their stepping stones? How do you think they're going to go forward? If we tell them to stop, and because they have been helping us a little bit. They've actually, the reason why they got involved is because they started bombing ISIS bases, actually, believe it or not. They actually started bombing, even though they support Assad, they started bombing ISIS bases.
Russia did?
Yeah, and that's why we got involved, because I guess we wanted to not play second fiddle, I guess.
Yeah,
What is Russia going to do from now on? What do you think the game plan is, do you think?
Well, maybe Russia's seeing the light, and they're like, okay, well, ISIS is... Oh, wait, no. Russia's on the other side, though.
Yeah, Russia's on Assad's side, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just trying to take out ISIS for a different reason than what we're taking them out for.
Yeah.
Russia's trying to take out ISIS because they are the biggest threat to Assad.
And they want to impress Assad. They want to impress him, yeah.
They're like, we are loyal to you, and we're going to show you that we can take them out on our own.
Yeah.
But then, of course, so the U.S., I mean, it is kind of nice that Russia is trying to take out ISIS.
Yeah.
But they're taking out ISIS in the wrong way.
For the wrong reasons.
Wrong reasons, yes. So I feel like that, I don't know, I would just accept their help and be like, okay, I know you're not doing it for the right reasons.
But go ahead, because we don't need to waste any of our soldiers, just to go right ahead and...
Yeah, just keep blowing them up, and we'll let you waste all your resources, and then we'll take you out when we... No, I'm just kidding. We'll take you out when you're weak.
Right, exactly. Yeah, seriously though, I think that this war in particular, Syria, it has us, and this is completely honest what I think. This is my honest opinion. I personally think that this war has us, like back in the Cuban Missile Crisis. We can go over the button.
With the Cold War, yeah.
Yeah, this war is basically... It's so funny. Closing thoughts on the Syrian Civil War here, Basically... It's so funny. In 2011, it started just as, rebels against the government, of that country, of Syria. But now it's turned into Saudi Arabia getting involved, Iran getting involved, Russia, U.S.,
That's exactly
ISIS.
How World War started.
Yeah.
That's a scary sign. That's it's showing the same, symptoms as a World War.
And the Book of Revelation. I'm sorry to say it, but, if what is happening is the end times, as, you know, because obviously we believe in Revelation, well, Christians, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
So when Revelation happens, it's weird because they say this is all the Bible predicts, which not predicts, it is going to happen because what God says is true. So the Bible says that it's going to all, climax, I guess you could say, climax in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And Jerusalem is because it's a holy city that's really, you know, Jesus went and stuff. So how is it going to be moved to Jerusalem? How is that going to happen, you know? If Syria is the start of this whole revelation.
I don't know.
You know,
there's a lot
like
of things that could play into it as to why it would move over there, but maybe it's not what we're thinking.
Maybe it's not the start of Revelation, yeah. Maybe it's not, yeah. Maybe
it's not the start of another world war.
Yeah. Maybe it's not the end times, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so, but we don't know for sure, for fact. I mean, only God knows that.
Yep. So, closing statements, Syria's a mess, and I think we need to get involved a little bit by sending in UAVs, like you said, Jared, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but splitting up how we attack.
Yeah,
attack ISIS while also attacking Assad.
Yeah, but not having little boots on the ground, because we don't need to sacrifice a single soldier for this.
Yeah, because you'll have less people, you know, having to worry about their family members that are overseas, you know, fighting in this war that they don't really know why they're fighting for.
Yeah.
You know, what they're fighting for.
Yeah. The people in Syria know what they're fighting for, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, but the people in the U.S., they see it as, well, they got family, and they want them to be alive.
Yeah.
They don't want them to be dead.
What I would do... Oh, wow, I just had another thing really quick. Why is it the U.S. joining the Kurdish? Why aren't they helping them? That's all just popped in my head. Why aren't they helping the Kurdish? You know?
They should. Because the Kurdish is, like, the one way out of it.
Yeah. That's
like, you don't want to side with Assad, definitely. You don't want to side with the people that are revolting.
Yeah, they don't side with the rebels because they'll...
Because the ISIS is with them.
The only reason is because of the jihadists, yeah.
So, the question is, where else do you go? Well, the Kurdish. Why didn't we think about this earlier? I don't know, but...
Wow. That's kind of smart for me to think about that, wow.
But we should have...
Sided with the
Kurdish.
Just
sided with them, because that
we should, because we still haven't. Which is stupid. We should side with them.
Because then they take out everyone, right?
Oh, yeah, the Kurdish just want to survive. They just want to get their families out and just, you know, get out of there.
But then that might get
they want autonomy.
They might also be like, well, let's get these people in here and protect them as refugees. They might try bringing them into the country, so that might start a whole other problem with... Well,
why is that a problem?
Well,
the Kurdish just want autonomy. They don't... I mean, they will put their AKs down.
I know, but we don't know if these people might be... There might be a couple of spies thrown in there with
they might not even be that... That might not even... You mean they might be part of ISIS and they're wrapped in with...
Like they're trying to take out the Kurdish from within, you know, join into that group, and then they try to, like, spy on the group and to see what their next move is, and maybe they're not gaining any ground, and they're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Well, they figure out that there's somebody that is not on their side after all.
Yeah. And then they might get us pissed at the Kurdish, and then it wasn't even the Kurdish's fault, it was that spy. Yeah. Yeah. This is a complex war. That's what I have to say to close. This is a complex war.
Alright, so do you think we should move on to the Weekly Geek Freak?
Yep, let's talk about the Weekly Geek Freak. Woo!
Oh, yeah!
Alright, so, Jared, this is exciting me.
What is it?
A new trailer. A new trailer. Oh my gosh. Okay. And you know what game it's for?
What?
Death Stranding. Now, we talked about... When was the last time we talked about this game?
A couple podcasts ago, I think.
I think it was like the second one. The World War II one, coincidentally, wow. And here we are on another war podcast, and we'll talk about it again, so...
I love war podcasts.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Guns! Ammunition!
Rock and roll! Okay.
Bazooka! Oh, wait, no.
No, okay.
Bazooka bubblegum. No.
Okay. Can you imagine? That's what the bubbles do, they're just like...
Double bubble!
And then actually, like...
Chewing tobacco!
Like... Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Yeah, so this game, like you said, Jared, in the other podcast, this game has been teased for a while, and you are right. They haven't really done anything with it, you know? It's just not... I don't know. But we do have a new trailer. Came out within a couple of days. And it stars Troy Baker, which is really very interesting. This report is from Kotaku.com. Do you know them?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, Kotaku.com is saying this. Kojima Productions closed out this year's Tokyo Game Show. That sounds so much fun. If we go to Japan, when we go to Japan, if it's around there, we have to go to it, yes. Kojima Productions closed out this year's Tokyo Game Show with a Death Stranding presentation, complete with a short new trailer starring Troy Baker in his very expensive mask. As you can see, it's a golden mask. It's pretty freaking cool. It reminds me of like a Uncharted, a Tomb Raider or something like that. Wow. It's pretty freaking cool. Starting off with the... Wait, what the heck? What?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Try refreshing the page.
I think it's view full discussion, I think. If it doesn't say it, then I'll just say what it is.
I mean, you can just... You know what it's about, right?
Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to go out with this off of memory, I guess. Okay, which I'll remember every single thing, so it's cool. So it actually opens with him literally, I guess we can go back to the notes because it's saying crap. Basically it opens up with, obviously, as I've stated in the previous podcast, the guy plays Daryl Dixon. Norman Reedus is in it. Obviously, he's one of the main characters.
Yeah, this had to be more than 2 podcasts ago, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, so basically he's literally walking, and the trailer literally opens with, forget my language, but it literally opens with the words, oh shit. And that's Troy Baker's character. Troy Baker, sorry. He's walking along, he's saying, and he's like, oh shoot. And he's basically saying, they meet, and they're like, hey, who are you, and stuff like that. And his little, one of the main mechanics of the game is that you have this little, dream catcher, then it goes, and that helps you detect little dimensional entities. Now, this game's about, I think, what we pieced together so far is, I think it's, the main character Norman Reedus plays is a guy named Sam, obviously, and he's a, delivery person.
Okay.
And he delivers dead bodies because of this event. Now, we don't know if it's a war, if it's a time travel thing that we can want
Black Death?
We don't know what it is. But this apocalyptic event happened, and so he delivers dead corpses to whoever, I guess. And he comes across this, like, Troy Baker dude. And he's like, hey, who are you? And they start talking, and then, he's like, I want you to see something. And I guess he's a bad guy because he's like, I want to show you something. Like, in, like, a very evil way, So he takes off his mask, and I guess it's like an alchemy thing. Which is kind of weird because we talked about alchemy in the last podcast. So he takes it out, he's like, and a bunch of, like, spell or whatever. And a bunch of entities start circling around it, they get sucked in, and they project it, and it forms like a giant dimensional cat, basically, or line or something. And it's made out of, like, black smoke or whatever. And it's actually, like, it actually starts, like, clawing in its face, doing what cats do. And then it lets out a huge roar, like, and it's about to kill the character, and that's where the trailer ends. Literally. It's literally a 50-second trailer.
Okay, so this is the game that was delayed so much times?
And once again, with every dimensional entity, gravity's flipped. That's always a constant. Gravity's flipped around the area that the entities are. We don't know why. But the characters that are the main characters and the ones that are controlling the entities and entities themselves don't float away. Which we don't know why.
Interesting.
And once again, we see the evidence of the baby thing again. Babies, they've been a big thing throughout this whole thing, throughout this whole debacle, so I don't know. So, Jude, what do you think? Why are they being so cryptic with this game?
I'm not sure. I don't know. There's another example I can think of a game that, you and me have been talking about that's like, why do we not get any more information on it? Want to guess what that is?
Metroid Prime?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I've been begging.
Like, it's like, here's another title screen. We made this joke before, but it's like, here's another title.
About this, yeah.
Yeah, here's another title screen.
Oh my gosh! And because you get the subtitle name of
and then before you know it, everyone's going nuts. It's just it's just a title screen, guys.
Now, Kojima Productions, he made Metal Gear Solid, and he's the main creator of this game. He did the last trailer. Now, I want to talk about 2 trailers, so I'll just mention that second one really quick. The last trailer did show gameplay. It did. But it was a walking simulator, basically, is what they showed us. Now, Kojima said that he wanted this first trailer, the gameplay trailer, at least, to be peaceful. So that means that the second gameplay trailer will show combat and stuff, which I'm hoping that it shows. Because if this first gameplay trailer shows the scenery and him walking... And,
they're really building up the hype. Like, just like they did with Zelda Breath of the Wild, they would show, just remember that one clip with the robot that was chasing Link?
I'm like, what the heck is this?
I mean, people were really hyped up when they saw that, and there's people on YouTube that were analyzing it to the T, like trying to get any information. They were like, okay, oh look, this blade of grass moved a certain way. That must be where he's going next.
Oh my god.
Like, good lord, just wait for the game to come out.
You said good lord. You want to talk about analyzing. Death Stranding is built for analyzing. Like, oh my god.
I'm sure
this is the analyzation
there's tons of
game.
people on YouTube that are analyzing it to a T, just like they did with...
Myself included. I don't have a YouTube channel, but I'm analyzing it to the T. Yeah.
Alright, so, do you want to move on to the next one?
Yes. Okay, now Jill can talk about this one.
So the next one, it's very weird, okay?
It's a
space elevator.
Now, space elevators are nothing new. The concept of space elevators have been around for a long while,
Okay, so the concept of the space elevator, and this is from Japan.
Yeah. First off, the site it's from is CNET.
CNET, yep.
You know what CNET is?
Yeah, I've used it before.
They're an awesome site. Love them. You know what? We should use this site for Weekly League Freaks because they'll
they have a lot of tech stuff.
Yeah,
right?
they're like a tech site. Yeah. So who's making this space elevator?
It's actually Japan. No surprise there.
Yeah.
Concept of the space elevator is set to get a workout following the weekend launch of a pair of satellites bound for the International Space Station, Science News reported Monday. This is CNET.com, by the way.
Yeah.
The experiment under the auspices of researchers at Shizuoka University in Japan will be the first movement trial conducted in space as part of the Space-Tethered Autonomous Robotic Satellite project. The two small STARS-Me satellites will be connected by a 10-meter cable, and a robotic device will travel along it between the satellites.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
This is that's just cool. This reminds me of that game Sonic Colors, when he was in the little rocket and it was going and then going to Eggman's amusement park.
Oh yeah, that was such a fun game.
Yeah, that's literally what this reminds me of.
And there's a tiny representation of what a full-size space elevator might someday do, running from Earth all the way to a spacecraft in orbit. Can you imagine that?
That is don't like that. I'm afraid of heights.
Wait, so here's the question: are they gonna play elevator music and just
walking up,
and you're just like jamming out in the elevator?
What's funny is that this elevator is probably gonna go 1,000 miles an hour or something. You know, it's a space elevator, so it's not.
They used to play some like chase music or something instead of
yeah, just like heavy techno. It's like they get your blood flowing, and they go whoop, smash against the ceiling because they're like so fast.
Well, I would assume they have a pressured cabin or something, you know, so then it's not like so you gravity neutralized there as you're going up. Because if you're going up, and you know how gravity obviously on Earth is different than on a different planet, or even just being out in space, you're gonna be floating inside the elevator. You'll be like pressed up against the top. You're like Spider-Man or something up on the top. You're like, I'm just gonna wait to ambush somebody.
And when you get out, like there are people waiting below you, walking below you.
And then you jump out on him.
No, you fall on them.
Yeah,
because the gravity, is back to normal. So it's like,
can't imagine like you're up there and you're like moving back down to Earth, and you're like, oh please don't fall, and then
you fall flat in your face.
I was hoping the gravity would come slowly.
Everybody do a flop. That'd be coincidental if they played that song as elevator music. That'd be hilarious.
That would be funny.
Oh my god.
So the launch was originally scheduled for September 11th.
Hold on, one more thing. Or like the episode of SpongeBob, and where they're riding the bus, is like, Patrick, I think we're on the one. I think you're flashing against the bus. Rock bottom.
Yeah, that was funny. So the launch was originally scheduled for September 11th, but was delayed for over a week due to weather and propulsion system of the rocket. And Masahiro Nahomi, who works on the project, told CNET in an email, if successful, space elevators are expected to significantly cut the cost of transporting people and objects to and from space. Still, there will be a number of steps needed along the way, such as the development of cables resistant to high-energy cosmic rays. That's kind of a big problem there.
Yeah,
you better make sure you get that. Can you imagine if the cord snaps? Like,
oh god,
dude, that would be scary.
Yeah.
And you know who would be starring in that movie? The Rock.
Yeah, that's good. No,
because he's in every single one of those like disaster movies.
I'm kind of laughing about the propulsion system because imagine it's like a space program. Imagine them put people in the elevator and the propulsion system goes off like crazy, and they're just instead of going up, they're like spinning.
The cord's moving back and forth.
And the actual elevator is like spinning like a centrifuge, and then cool steps, and they go flying off into space.
Just keeps going on.
Help us! I didn't know it was going to be a roller coaster today. And then before you know it, kid pukes.
And you're trapped with it.
Smacks on your face. Kind of like when you on Max and the seagull crapped on you. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Oh my gosh.
So, anyways, the launch follows earlier ones called Stars, and then there's Stars 2, and Stars C in 2009, 2014, and 2016, respectively.
I would not want to laugh my family on that space elevator. I'm sorry. Because if that goes...
Yeah, really. Of which only Stars still operates in space. And quotations, these satellites deployed earlier tether connected mother and daughter satellites, Naomi explained. Whereas Stars Me has the first real elevator. It has a climber which translates on the tether. That is, the climber translates on tether after deployment. A space elevator, this is the first.
Which I think what he's saying is that's the first space elevator that's actually starting to be developed, I think. Is what he means.
Yeah, I think like they're getting closer to it or something.
Yeah.
And then a new launch known as Stars AO, which Naomi described as a mini telescope CubeSat. Like, what the heck? I don't even know what that is.
The terminology.
Yeah, I think it's a bit far-fetched for us.
Wait a minute.
What?
Like radio telescopes. What do radio telescopes do? They blast energy. So maybe instead of being tethered, it would be like a freaking, like how, airplanes take off on a, aircraft carrier. It just has like a, kind of like a wind tunnel where it goes, catapult, and it goes, and pushes it up. Instead of being tethered and dragged up fast, you know? It probably goes,
Wait, you're saying airplanes do that?
yeah, on aircraft carriers. You haven't seen when...
Oh, aircraft carriers, but not airplanes.
No. Aircraft carriers. And remember, when they pull back and it goes... They go faster because it catapults them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how the space elevator can do it. It goes like, it's, obviously horizontal, vertical, not horizontal, but it's like... And then catapult goes... catapults them up. Instead of tethering them up. That would be a cool method. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe that's what they're saying.
And so, a new launch known as Stars AO, which Naomi describes mini CubeSat rather than a tethered satellite, is imminent too, planned for October 29th.
Wow, as early as then. Wow.
So Stars AO is derived from stars, astronomical
observation. I think that's that's worded weird, but I think it's like a company name. I think.
Yeah, they need to. I don't know.
That's kind of weird way to word that.
Yeah, and then in quotations, we are very glad that the first space elevator satellite was successfully launched.
Oh, that's what that means. They successfully launched it then.
Yeah, so it's kind of confusing the way they worded it. If
they
would have just said it a different way, we would have understood.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then there's another...
This next quote!
Okay, so
I'm gonna the way it says this.
Alright, so I'm gonna do my best to imitate how he would probably say it.
No, that's not what's funny. What's funny was what it is actually said.
Yeah, I know. In quotations, the space elevator is now in space and on orbit!
No, just the first few words. The space elevator is now in space. Oh yeah, where else would it be? Seriously.
It's on Earth, people.
The space elevator is now in space.
Sounds like what it would be saying, like, over the intercom or something. And
the space elevator is now in space. The space elevator
You may now unbuckle your seatbelt.
Well, thanks, Captain Obvious.
Tray tables, you can bring them down now. We'll be serving apple juice shortly. So, but we have to make efforts to prepare for operation after releasing it from the ISS.
And now it's a space station. Wow. That's interesting, Willie. Wow.
So our important mission is the first space elevator demonstration in the world.
Can you imagine live TV? Live TV will probably show that when they get it up and running, you know?
So the question is, we're running really low on time here, but...
Well, actually...
Or running out of time, I mean.
No, we're not, because we got everything done. I mean, we could just...
Well, I know, but it's already past the 2-hour mark, so...
Yeah, okay.
So what I was going to say was, before we close out...
So we'll close out tonight?
Yeah, close out tonight's podcast.
Yeah.
How do you think that it would look like? So they're gonna have a cord that's going, so think of it as like an elevator on a cord or something.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be like all the way down from the space station and then to like a facility somewhere and then they get on it and then it goes up?
Yeah.
Is that what it's
kind of like a time travel podcast when they talked about the beam of light coming from space down to except imagine that beam as an actual physical thing, you know? I don't think of it as a chain. I think of it as like a pneumatic tube. Like, really, really weird comparison, but in Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, when the dude got sucked up into that tube,
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like a tube like that, that's probably how it would be, but it would be a lot larger and...
But there is a physical connection between the space station and Earth,
there has to be. How else would it,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's just gonna float up there.
I mean, maybe. I mean, and maybe in some weird way, and like magnetic. Oh, this is the way they could do it with maglev technology. Kind of like how trains, the bullet trains in Japan are like maglev, they hover a little bit. Maybe you can use maglev technology to do it. That'd be kind of cool. Because maglev has great speed. I mean, you've seen how fast these things are.
Yeah,
maybe Japan can adopt maglev technology, which maglev, if you guys don't know, stands for magnetic levitation.
Yeah. I would probably stick with a wired connection for right now.
Yeah.
Just because it would be safer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to throw somebody into the space elevator and be like, hoping that it makes it up there, because you don't know. It might end the project immediately. They might be like, well, we had a casualty, someone died in the space elevator.
They got their head smacked against the ceiling. I mean, that's kind of sad, but I mean...
you don't know.
Like, not that it's sad.
What if the space elevator, makes it up into space, and then it loses connection somehow? And then it gets sent into orbit.
Oh,
and then
God.
you're trapped in orbit, in Earth's
orbit.
The
worst thing is sometimes in movies when elevators get stuck right in the very middle. So, like, it gets stuck in the tube between, the space station and Earth, and it's, like, stuck up there. And
Another
it can't
thing
move.
is from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Remember the elevator, the glass elevator, when it goes up into the sky?
Yeah.
That would be nice to have something like that, but without, just be able to go into space.
Yeah, but like it's still pressurized.
I don't know if I'd like the glass.
You can look down.
Look
down. Oh God! Imagine if you they probably have more than one elevator running. So imagine if you get stuck and there's no elevator shooting it up towards you.
Yeah.
Oh God! There's a collision and explosion.
They'd probably have more than one path.
Yeah.
One for going down.
Oh, that'd be so cool. And then there'd be like side
like
ones.
a train, or it has two tracks.
Yeah. Not only that, but like they could come up with like very creative. Look on the by the year 3000, say 1,000 years from now, they really have it nailed down, so they could do like complex patterns where it's like tons of like intersecting.
Oh, you want to go to Mars? We'll send you to Mars.
Yeah,
you want to go to any other planet? We got a direct connection.
But you know what I mean? Like they can make it almost like a fun thing. So like they have like loop-de-loops, and they can have
or they can have like tours or something.
Yeah,
like you get on there, and then like they can make money off of this. Just bringing people on tours in space.
There's like cool little intersecting tracks, like where it goes past each other, and that'd be kind of cool. Yeah,
so the possibilities are endless with this if they're able to get it going right.
The idea is out of this world. I'm sorry, I absolutely had to.
You couldn't resist.
I cannot. I could not resist at all. I love puns.
Well, I think that was about it for today's podcast.
Yep, this concludes this podcast.
Yep, so make sure to follow our Twitter accounts and Facebook if you want to, stay up to date when we post the next podcast. And
like I've said before, if you don't have access to YouTube or Apple Podcasts, follow our accounts. We will post a link in the description, and just click that link, and that will lead you directly to our YouTube site. Yep. So you can check that out. Alright, so this has been All for Good Podcast.
Alright, see you guys.
See ya.